Okay, welcome everybody to the Machine versus Man tour here. And we're going to be going into our second game of the day. I am BisuDagger, and I will be leading the charge on this tournament here. It is LetaBot, again, the one who is hosting the tour, the one who also programs AI for these StarCraft bots every year. Complete awesome dude, and he's been part of this competition for a long time, so give him a shout out in the chat. And then we have Darknet Hunter, also known as DNH. He is spawning at the top left-hand corner here, and we are going to see another epic TVT. Now, LetaBot, I believe that he is probably, and he's humble, so he didn't say this, probably a top 5 bot too, just because he's been doing it for so long. I know that he's played, and he's placed really high in many tournaments. And it really came along because I looked at the AI tournament bot history, and there were some where he didn't actually, you know, he got eliminated in an early round, and I was like, no way, LetaBot, he got eliminated, he didn't win the whole thing. But now his bots are definitely doing a lot better. He won last year's AI versus AI tournament, I actually believe. And his strategies were really strong. They were all, I believe, one-base plays too. And just taking advantage of the weakness of that early game and his bot opponents here. So now we're going to see that the barracks is coming up for DNH, and he's not going to try and proxy here. We are on Fighting Spirit, and look at this, LetaBot going for that fast refinery. If you weren't part of my cast on Thursday, I did a cast with Nazgul versus Boxer, and Nazgul, when he was playing against Boxer employed one-base strategies all day, every day in TVP. He really liked going either for a rush strategy, which helped him win that series, but going for the faster gas here, immediately putting 3 SCVs on here, which allows you to get up to that factory tech. And with the faster factory tech, you can either just crunch out fast vulture upgrades, and Boxer did this by actually getting 2 fast machine shops and then just pumping out vultures from there. Or you could just go for a siege expand style type build, which, depending on your preference, more and more expand level builds have become popular these days. Back in 2002, it was all about one base before advancing and getting towards that mid game, which meant having a natural, which is rather hilarious these days. So now we're seeing that there's 1 SCV mining for DNH. And he's probably just doing that so he has just enough gas to be able to get his factory at some point here. But right now he's just producing Marines. I know there's a lot of chatter on the left side here. If you guys want to read that, you can. I'm just going to go ahead and ignore it unless I see something that like stands out on the side of my eye and makes me laugh hilariously. But there's no trash talk. Imagine if there was like bot trash talk. Can you program that in, LetaBot? Can you have your bot like do some sort of laugh at your opponent when you do something hilarious to them? Because I think that's the way to go. Your bot, if you really wanted a good bot, you should be like Boxer. The Boxer is the reason why talking during games was banned, because he was so good at messing with his opponent either through trash talk or distracting them, that he would type things and then he would attack at the same time. Hey, where are you from? Oh, I just moved into your base while you were answering that question. And so, you know, stuff like that. Boxer literally went for every strategy he could think of to win games. He would do like the ally, he would ally with his opponent temporarily so that way mines wouldn't go off against him. I believe that was one of the glitches back in the day too. So that was pretty fun. And I'm actually getting confirmation that the bot can send messages. So LetaBot, you better get on that. Call him Trash Talk Bot. A second Terran factory is on the way. I'm guessing we got up to 3 SCVs now. Meanwhile, this has been just a Marine expansion right now to take the second command center. But where's LetaBot sitting at right now? 2 vultures coming out right now. A quick kill off on that Marine. He's actually got 1 Marine already completed. But yeah, this is actually looking very Boxer-esque. Except for, you know, the siege tank didn't come quite as quick. Or the siege mode tech. And I wonder, are we going to see anything produced from here? Just vultures, just vultures. So let's go directly into this base right now. We're looking at, okay, so this is a 2,600 APM vulture. And DNH wins. Oh, well, you know what? The APM imbalance, not too strong there. The Vulture ends up getting taken out. A really nice defense here by DNH, who's getting a decent amount of Vultures. You know, the sacrifice of army count comes by actually getting these factories. You can see that just the one factory right away allowed DNH to get Vultures quicker, especially since he doesn't have a second machine shop, and he is able to get that factory out. The floating barracks going to be going for that scout here. 4 Marines coming up to the forefront here, along with the Vulture. And are they just going to try and stand still while we see an expansion? No, that's not an SUV coming up. It's another tank. So, a little bit of a micro push coming out from LetaBot. Let's see what actually can get done. Meanwhile, any more buildings being built? Yes, we have another factory built down at the bottom. Oh, and it gets you in the middle here. A ton of Vultures coming in here, and the siege mode employed by LetaBot, and that's going to allow the tank to just be ignored. It's, again, also going to be ignored, and so many Vultures are going to be running into this. Oh, this is a disaster here. There's nothing to defend. The SCVs not even getting pulled away from the mineral line, which really you can't pull them because there's just too many Vultures at this point. And siege mode being employed once again. But the danger of the siege mode is that the friendly fire could kill off some of his own SCVs. So this is going to be very dangerous. Okay, so the tank's pushing forward one more time here. I know there's discussion in the chat about when day 2 is going to happen. I'm out of town next weekend, but maybe I could bring my computer and my equipment and attempt to cast. There's no guarantee. Right now, it looks like we're going to be 2 weeks out just because I haven't seen my mom for a year, and so I have to go and travel to see her. She's returning from China, taught English there. How fun. I'm not Chinese at all. I'm a complete white dude from Florida. Alright, so there is another micro Vulture here that is going to be taken out. And it does end up getting eliminated. And let's look at DNH's base here. He doesn't have the second refinery quite yet. It's not necessary. He really only wants to produce tanks off one factory at this point anyway. He's going to get up to 4 factories. And this is like Firebat hero level TBT for DNH. I like that he's going for this 4-fact style right now off these 2 bases. It's going to be really strong. But there's a decent amount of tanks right here. And this is going to be a nice push from LetaBot, who unsiege modes and siege modes up really effectively. I mean, these guys get down so fast. The one thing that they do, though, is they clump quite a bit here. And if there was a mid-game TBT play... Oh, those spider mines almost working, you know, dangerously against these tanks here. But I was going to say, if these tanks remain clumped in like mid-game TBT, then he'd be in a lot of trouble because the fire can kill some of them off, and that clump massive area of effect damage here. But instead, we're going to see DNH move out. He's going to have to go into more melee range, basically, with these tanks if he wants to be able to take them out. And he does eliminate this push here. Just one more Vulture to die off. And I like this, too, that LetaBot actually sent his barracks across the map, too. So more units being reinforced across the map. And where they're containing here is outside this bridge. Like we saw in game number 1, we are seeing the same or similar strategy employed like Iron Bots, where you just guard the bridge and prevent anything from getting out. It's a really aggressive strategy. And for like a D-level player or C-level player, you may feel a little claustrophobic by it and think, I need to break out this bridge. And DNH, he's actually doing a great job here. So more players will, or lesser players will actually rush units and, you know, one at a time, saying, I'm just going to try and eliminate these units, and end up losing their army. And those contains end up doing a lot of damage. But instead, he's getting out with his Vultures, not able to get quite inside the base to go for an attack here. The only thing he has as far as his color is the barracks floating inside the main base. Meanwhile, one more Vulture here. It's going to get cleaned up as a DNH does move across. Again, he's got a decent sized army. This tank actually going down really slowly to these Vultures, but eventually does get taken out. Is there an armory inside this base? No, it looks like we are just going to see an academy, so comsat stations can come up. An armory, yes, inside of the natural base, so +1 going to be on the way. Meanwhile, are any unit upgrades going to be employed? Well, only 3 factories for LetaBot, so his army production is actually going to be considerable slower. And that's not going to be really good for him. He's trying to expand, but he didn't build enough factories to deal with the army resupply that's coming from DNH. And now he has a massive army that's coming up towards the natural base of this of LetaBot's positioning here, and it looks like he will end up losing the natural right away. Actually going down a lot slower than I expected here, but there are units inside the main base at this point, and I believe that LetaBot, who's floating at 38 supply, is not going to be able to overcome the 90 supply of DNH. So unfortunately for the bots, and I guess good for mankind, we are going to see that Man has won 2 games in a row, as I believe that the SCVs will not trade effectively enough to kill off this army. We'll be patient though. We'll be patient. When you've got 7,000 APM, there may be something crazy that might work. Yep, okay, so we're gonna go ahead and set this into a faster mode right now. It is going to be GG, and we did not have to wait for all the buildings to get eliminated. Okay, let's go ahead and take a look at the final stats. We're gonna see that DNH actually had that superior unit count, and that came in when he got the higher factory count, plus that earlier natural base. So something we've seen as a trend in the first 2 games is that the natural base is taken more aggressively by a human player than bots. Structures again, yes, the additional factories meant that more supply depots had to be built, which meant more structures. And then the resources, obviously higher again, due to that natural base. Alright, as we get into game number 3, let's take a midway break and talk about our sponsors here. Guys, we are getting sponsored, and this is a paid event by Star Apple. And I think that's really cool that we were able to, not me, I don't want to take credit, that LetaBot was able to acquire sponsorship for this tournament. You know, it's not the 1 million won reward that you usually see in a Korean tournament, but I think it's really cool that there is some money involved. Now, Star Apple itself, I go to the website while I talk about it, and I can't read it because it is a Netherlands website, but that's exactly what it's for. And Star Apple is the biggest IT recruitment agency in the Netherlands. And if you've got IT skills and you want to get a job, you want to get, you know, out there, they are the perfect match for you. So do that. Get with Star Apple. Get off your butt. Stop programming like, you know, little home bots, and get out there and do something cool with the world. Get hooked up with that IT recruitment agency. So Riddles.io and the AI games are other links that you can see on the bottom right. And those are really cool, like, geeky websites. If you want to be a super nerd, which is a good thing, in my opinion, I love being a super nerd. Programming is the coolest thing ever. I come home and I'm like, I love my job. And my wife is like, I work in a hospital. This isn't cool. So, not that she doesn't like her job, but programming's next level. And so on Riddles.io, you can set up programming competitions, whether you have a company, a university, or you just want to roll out with, you know, a huge group of friends. I'm sure you can do that too. But it's about business and education competitions. And then if you want to go for more of the game level stuff, the AIgames.com is all sorts of different competitive games, not just StarCraft 1. I don't know, maybe chess, Go, backgammon. You gotta program some sweet backgammon AI. That may not be on there, but I'm just being silly at this point. You can learn how to program in C, Clojure, Common Lisp, C++, C#, D, Elixir, Go, Haskell, whatever you want to use. I like that Pascal's on there too. Man, some crazy languages available for you to program with if you want to go into the competitive gaming scene with your bots. So definitely check those 3 out. I've talked your ear off enough. Let's go into the next game. Let's see, who are we going to have? I believe that we're going to go for a bot versus bot here. So who will be the next Skynet? Is it going to be LetaBot or is it going to be IronBot? Let me load up game number 1 here and apply these positions real fast. Okay.